traveler spent years crossing lands in search of a sacred well said to grant endless wealth. One day, exhausted and empty, he stopped beside a quiet stream to rest. As he cupped the water in his hands, he saw his reflection and realized he had carried the well within him all along. It had never been far, only forgotten. What if the wealth you've been trying to create was never outside of you? In this final chapter, you'll discover the silent truth behind all manifestation, that abundance is not earned, but remembered. We'll return together to the vibration of enough, peeling back the layers of lack and revealing the inner wealth that has always been yours. This is the final key, not something to unlock, but something to realize. A child sitting in sunlight doesn't ask if it is worthy of warmth, it simply receives. Before you learned the language of lack, before the world taught you to measure, compare and chase, there was a time you simply were. In that early stillness, there was no striving, only being. That was your first home. That was abundance. You didn't question your right to receive. You breathed and air came. You cried, and someone held you. Your needs were met by nature, not negotiation. This was not luxury. This was natural law. And though time added layers, that state of enough has never left you. It rests beneath the noise, waiting to be remembered. When you began to want, it was not because you were lacking. It was because you were taught to look outward. Silent manifestation does not ask you to create something new. It asks you to return, to feel again that quiet certainty, that energetic alignment that needs no proof. You are not far. You've simply been facing the wrong direction. And when we begin to face inward again, toward that original stillness, that inner wealth, we start to see something clearly. Lack is not original to us. It is learned. It was never yours to carry. A mirror reflects only what stands before it. But if the glass is smudged, even beauty looks broken. Lack is the smudge. It was not born with you. It was placed upon you, taught, conditioned, whispered through repetition until it became an unquestioned belief. But I tell you now, what is learned can also be unlearned. You were taught to compare, to chase, to earn worth through proof. And slowly, your natural vibration frequency, once soft and receptive, hardened into self-doubt. The world around you mirrored this back, confirming a falsehood, that you must do more, be more, have more to be enough. But you've always been enough. The moment you recognize that scarcity is a program, not a truth, you begin to loosen its hold. That's where energetic alignment begins to return, not by adding anything, but by subtracting the noise. Stillness reveals truth, and in that stillness, your inner wealth rises to the surface, untouched by what the world projected onto you. And so we begin to turn inward again, not to fix, but to remember, because the truth was never outside of you. The truth is this: you were born wealthy. A tree does not ask the soil if it is worthy to grow. It expands because it is. You came into this life whole. Before anyone told you who to become, before any conditions were placed upon your worth, you existed in quiet richness. You were born with value, born with brilliance, born with inner wealth. This wealth is not stored in banks or measured in accolades. It lives in your vibration frequency, in the way you trust, the way you breathe, the way you open your heart. That's the core of silent manifestation. Not the pursuit of what's missing, but the embodiment of what's already within. When you feel into that original state, not as a concept, but as a knowing, something opens. You stop chasing the outer reflection and begin tuning into the inner truth. And it is from this space that energetic alignment happens naturally. You don't force the flow, you remember it. This remembrance isn't a practice, it's a return, a soft falling back into what was always true. And when you return to that knowing, you begin to understand something essential, that abundance is not earned, it's tuned into. The radio doesn't earn the music, it simply finds the signal. This is the way of abundance. It is not a prize granted for effort, but a frequency you align with. You don't receive more because you've done enough. You receive more because you feel enough. That is the quiet law behind all silent manifestation. Abundance responds not to striving, but to resonance. When you carry the inner tone of sufficiency, life echoes it back. This is energetic alignment, a seamless connection between your inner state and your outer experience. You don't force abundance to come. You become the space it naturally enters. Most chase abundance as if it's outside of them. But I tell you, abundance is never earned. It is accessed, felt, embodied. And the access point is always here, now, not in the future. You don't rise to it through hustle. You sink into it through presence. And when you release the belief that you must deserve abundance, you begin to see just how much resistance that idea has created. And from there, we uncover the truth behind it all, the illusion of earning. A bird does not sing to be paid. It sings because it is alive. Yet we have been taught to believe that abundance must be earned, proven, justified. This belief turns joy into labor and worth into a transaction. But silent manifestation asks a different question. What if you were already enough before doing anything at all? The idea of earning is rooted in lack. It assumes you begin empty. So you strive, produce, perform, all in an attempt to prove what was never missing. The more you try to deserve, the more you reinforce the feeling of not having. That's how the illusion sustains itself. It feeds on your effort. True wealth does not respond to effort. It responds to frequency. When your energy says, "I am whole," abundance has no choice but to arrive. That is the power of energetic alignment. It is not about working harder. It is about being quieter, clearer, truer. And once you see through this illusion, a doorway opens. You stop chasing. You begin receiving. You return, not to what you want, but to what you already are. And from that return comes the remembrance of enough. A bowl need not overflow to be full. The moment you remember this is the moment the endless seeking begins to slow. You realize that enough is not a finish line. It's a feeling. It's a frequency you can re-enter at any time, not by gaining more, but by softening into stillness. That is the beginning of silent wealth. To return to enough is to return to center. It's the breath that steadies you, the awareness that nothing is missing. Gratitude becomes your grounding, not for what might come, but for what already is. This simple recognition restores your vibration frequency to its original tone, quiet, certain, abundant. In this state, manifestation stops being a pursuit and becomes a byproduct. You no longer generate energy from lack. You generate from wholeness. You receive not because you reached, but because you remembered. And when you move from this state, your outer world begins to reorder itself. And so the practice shifts. You're no longer waiting for wealth to confirm your worth. You begin to choose your wholeness now, not after the desire arrives, not when the proof appears, but now. A flower doesn't pause its blooming to ask if spring has truly come. It opens, not because it sees the full sun, but because it feels the time is right. This is what it means to choose wholeness now, to stop delaying your abundance until conditions change, to begin living as though nothing is missing, because truly nothing is. Many wait to feel worthy, wait to feel safe, wait to feel joy, all postponed until an external shift occurs. But in doing so, they reinforce the vibration of lack. Silent manifestation asks you to reverse this logic. Feel it now, be it now, and let the outer respond to the inner, not the other way around. This is the heartbeat of the abundance mindset. You no longer wait to be validated. You validate your wholeness through your daily being. In stillness, in breath, in the way you walk across the room, you become the one who already has. That's how inner wealth begins to express itself, not in volume, but in presence. And when that presence deepens, when the waiting ends, something unexpected begins to happen. Not because you're chasing, but because the moment you stop seeking, things begin to arrive. A quiet lake reflects the sky not by trying, but by being still. When you stop chasing, grasping, adjusting, something profound occurs. Reality softens around you. You become magnetic, not through action, but through clarity. It is in this state, and when nothing feels missing, that everything begins to flow toward you. You may have heard, let go and it will come. But this is not about letting go of the desire. It's letting go of the identity that lacks it. When you rest in the truth that you are already whole, the vibration frequency of receiving becomes active. You are no longer pulling, you are attracting. The paradox is sacred. When you don't need, you receive. When you don't wait, things move. This isn't spiritual trickery. It is energetic alignment. The universe doesn't respond to your effort. It responds to your essence. And your essence, when aligned with enough, becomes the key that opens every invisible door. And now, the loop closes. The search dissolves. And what remains is the truth that was always quietly waiting for you to see it, that abundance was never separate. It has always been who you are. A star doesn't become light. It simply reveals itself through the darkness. And so it is with you. This journey has never been about gaining abundance. It has been about remembering it. You are not moving toward wealth. You are awakening to what has always been yours. Abundance is not outside. Abundance is who you are. This truth lives beneath every conditioned thought, every taught belief, every old script of scarcity. And once you touch it, even for a moment, the world can never appear the same again. Your vibration frequency stabilizes, your energy calms. You no longer search, you live. Silent manifestation is not a method. It's a return, a quiet alignment with your original wholeness. The wealth that was never taken, only forgotten. When you embody this, you don't hope, you don't ask, you know. And that knowing becomes the force behind every manifestation. So this final key is not new, it is ancient. And it has always been within you, quietly waiting for your remembrance. You were never broken, you were never lacking. You have always been the abundance you've been trying to find. So now I ask you, what if there was never anything missing? What would shift in your life if you began to live from your wealth rather than toward it? Reflect below. Let your voice be part of this remembrance. And if this message has stirred something true within you, like the video, subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss the next unfolding of this silent path to abundance.